Welcome to Go For Side Effects. I'm your host, Kevin Simon. You're on with my co-host, John. John, what's up, man?
Hey, everyone. I'm upright and breathing, doing good.
And everybody knows Wade. Wade, what's up?
Not much. Doing fantastic.
And Tina, how are you?
Doing fine. Trying to kick this cootie.
Oh, you got cooties. I haven't heard that word since I was a little kid.
Somebody gave me a cootie.
So I want to thank y'all for coming on. You know, we got one more week after this week. I want to thank everybody for going over to YouTube and joining in our channels there where all of our shorts are. And, you know, go over there, subscribe, share the link. We're trying to, you know, get it to go, you know, press the like button. And, you know, everything helps build this podcast up. We also have our Patreon, and we're getting new listeners over at Patreon. I really like that. And so this week, we're going to be talking about how to better a veteran's lifespan is what I'd call it. You know, better quality of life. A veteran's better quality of life. And so, and one of them is dieting and exercising. And, you know, I can tell each and every one of y'all, I need to lose about 15 pounds. And so April the 2nd is what we discussed last week is when we're going to do the challenge. I did buy my planner. Just let everybody know I got my planner.
Doesn't mean you're going to write in it, but you bought one, right?
Well, yeah. No, I'll write in it. I'm going to come out with 3 days a week to exercise, 3 days out of the week, 15-minute times. I'm going to do that dad bod challenge. You know,
what
it's what it's called, the dad bod challenge. And look it up. It's on TikTok. I like it. Use your chair. You don't have to do anything else. And
I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah. And so, you know, I want to start with Wade on this one because Wade, our Mr. Researcher, and Tina's also our Mr. Researcher on stuff. I want to talk a little bit about what type of herbs and natural stuff that people can take for help, you know, build their energy up. And I really want to get into that. And so, Wade, I'm going to let you run with it because I know you've got us hooked on a couple of things.
Well, when one thing we had talked about last week was about beef. And that was one thing I really looked into that, you know, I did the diet study for American University. Being from Iowa, I was used to a bunch of grain-fed beef products, and I was a real big steak eater, a lot of hamburgers. For dieting, the big challenge, and this is for anybody that eats red meat, the big challenge is to start looking for buying and switching and converting yourself over to grass-fed beef. For me, it was a huge transition. That was probably one of the hardest things I could do as far as the diet. It looks different. It tastes different. It just, for me, it didn't seem right. But once you've actually made the switch over, for me, that was probably one of the most significant changes I made in my diet. A lot of people are like, you know, why? What's the difference? Like you get a lot of cows, a lot of beef from Iowa. And when you think about it, if you think about corn, and corn is a big pile of cotton candy. And once it's out there and it's sweating, it's getting all nice and sweet versus a pile of hay and grass. You think about kids and what are they going to go eat? Well, they're going right for that cotton candy. And that's exactly what the cows are going to do. And that corn and that grain, that's been nothing but treated for the entire season with pesticides and herbicides and a bunch of poisons that's been on that corn. And that's going right straight into the cows. And now that meat's tainted and contaminated. And that's going right inside your body. So, and that's probably the last thing that we need. So you switch over, just go start shopping around, and it's out there. It's very plentiful. Just about every single store. My big one is Aldi's, Sam's, Costco, Target, Walmart. You can find grass-fed meats everywhere. And if you buy a pound of grass-fed meat, you hold it up against a pound of meat that you got at your local grocery store, you're going to see a significant difference in color. And like I said, and you don't have to do it all at once, just slow conversion over. because there is a little bit of a taste difference. But yeah, that for me
Do
was
they advertise it as such, Wade? Does
Yep,
it
it'll
say
be right
grass
across the
fed?
package. Absolutely, it'll say grass fed.
Okay.
I
And
just
then-
posted their benefits in there for you, Wade, too, so people can kind
Yeah,
of track.
the biggest benefits is it's going to get you increased omega-3 fatty acids, which your body needs. We need that. Increased level of antioxidants. There's a chemical in there called CLA, which is very, very helpful for the body. It's lower in saturated fats and it's increased in electrolytes. And it's going to be leaner in overall fat. So, all that is a good thing. The biggest contribution is you're not going to be getting the byproducts from the asbestos and the herbicides and all the junk that was sprayed on that grain that the cattle already ate, digested, and it is in that meat. Maybe that'll turn a lot of people into vegetarians when you start thinking about it.
Well, too, most corn-fed are typically in factory farming,
Yep, correct.
feedlots.
Yep, and your grass-fed are like if you buy into that, I'm not saying you buy into it, don't buy into it, but your grass-fed are going to be out there grazing, unstressed, undisturbed. Yeah.
I agree with you on that. And also, like you also got to watch where you get your chickens, where they're processed at.
Yep,
and what they do.
antibiotic free.
Yes.
And that again, that's right on the packages. It'll say that.
And you just got to be really careful about the choices that you make. But for 30 days, that's all I'm asking each and every
30 days.
person. 30 days. Let's see how you feel after 30 days. But Wade introduced me to something called NAD plus boosting.
Yep, NAD.
And I want to tell y'all what. So, and there's NAC with NAD in it. Yeah, and 600 milligrams. And I can tell y'all that to me, that's important for veterans. I really believe so. And I mean, I don't wear the patches anymore, but I did see a video where they did talk about, hey, if you take vitamins or herbs for like a certain amount of time, you need to stop that and switch to something else because your body starts getting used to it. Any medication or anything you take, your body starts getting used to it. And so I will be switching back to the patches after I'm done with the next month and a half that's coming up. I'm going to switch back and forth. But I mean, there's so much out there. You just got, and also don't just go straight to the Walmart shelves of vitamins and look for it. Do your research. That's important. I think Wade would agree with that, and Tina and John, because I mean, like there's different types of B12 out there and different makers. You don't know what they're putting inside, so do your homework on it.
Definitely.
Because when you go into wherever you decide to go do your shopping, as you know, especially us being Americans, there gets to be such a variety of different things to pick from. Unless you do your research, yeah, you can stand there in the aisle, get this research thing out called your phone, but that takes some time. And you have to know what it is you're looking for in advance and listening to those people that you trust and know you're going to steer you in the right direction. Because there's a lot of variety, just like in if you're going to go to buy a medication, you got to know what's in it or what you're after, because there's a ton of stuff to pick from out there.
Well, I'm going to put you on the spot here, Tina, because you actually talk about growing your own vegetables.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, I see the value in that. How long have you been doing that?
I started doing my own veggies. I think this is going to be my 4th garden. I started small, and this year I could probably feed the whole city because I just love to do it so much, right? So, I feel like my grandparents raised me, and they had multiple large gardens. They fed their whole family with the gardens, and I grew up eating fresh fruits and vegetables. And once you join the Army, you just eat whatever, right? And so I kind of lost touch with that. And then as I started getting older, convenience was a factor, but now that I'm slowing down and I had some space, I really am kicking myself because I was too cool for school when I was a kid and my grandparents were doing the garden. I should have been out there learning that, and I didn't do it. Now that I'm learning every year, I learn something new. Like there'll be a new fresh hell bug that comes and starts munching on my stuff that wasn't there last year, you know? So it's like you not against nature, but you trying to figure out how to work with nature. So
Right.
there's a lot of like connectivity to the process from the point that you grow it from a little seed to the point that you cook with it and eat it. So there's some kind of measure of accomplishment that goes along with the health benefits.
And you also have to know where to get the seed, because
Right.
I mean that's important. Normally, I don't know how the cities do it. You can look on like different websites and stuff, but make sure that you're getting it from an actual, like farmer. Like for us, we got places all around here, that feed stores
Right.
are everywhere, and we can go in there and none of that stuff has added preservatives, the steroids, or any of that stuff. You get it straight out of there.
So one of the chat comments was just if you can't do all of that, right? If you can't get to a farmer's market or you can't get the side road person, even those side road people, you got to watch, right? They're just
Yeah.
trucking stuff up from Mexico, right? So if you can buy local produce, that's the best thing that you can do. Local produce is it's pollinated by local bees. There's a lot of benefits to it, right? But if you can't, they said go around the outer, don't ever go inside the aisles of your grocery store. Stay on the perimeter of your grocery store because the stuff in the middle is dead and it's probably not even real food.
No, well, that's pretty good. That's a good way.
I've never heard that, but that
Yeah.
that actually makes sense because as
Yeah.
you say that, I'm visualizing the stores, and I think there's probably a lot of truth to that. So
And I mean, that Pink Christie put "Know Your Farmer" is a thing. It is. It really is, man. I mean, y'all can get on the internet. Y'all can really do some, Googling and do some searches. And the other thing, though, and which I'm going to go back to wait on this is you went and you done this study, and you saw so much improvement from that study. I want you to talk about that because I know you got more about, other vitamins and natural stuff you want to talk about. But so I'm bringing it back to you, Wade.
Yeah, it was. I will be honest. It was not easy. I thought my diet when I started the study. I thought my diet was excellent. I thought that I was doing everything right, and I was like 90% wrong. So for me to adjust and start eating fresh fruits, fresh vegetables regularly, nuts. The change of the meat was huge. Starting to prepare my own meals at home instead of eating out. Bread, I completely eliminated. Everybody, and even like your quote unquote, your whole wheat and your whole grain breads, I had no bread whatsoever.
So no bread at all.
No bread at all.
Okay.
I switched to wraps. I will say it was a lifestyle adjustment, which has been over a year now. And I will say I'm 90% still with the diet. So, you're trying to eat, when you think about all your vegetables and you're trying to eat 3 or 4 different colors of vegetables a day, your fruits, you're trying to eat 3 different colors of fruits per day. And it's very hard if you have a job or, it is difficult to do, but I mean, it can be done, but I understand that it is difficult. The biggest thing was reading labels. And the simple rule of thumb when reading labels is if you cannot pronounce an ingredient, put it back on the shelf. That's as simple as it can be. And as drastic as it is, that just makes life all simple. Again, everybody has their own label. Again, I go back to all these because that's my number one go-to, but all these, Walmart, Target, they all have their own little quote unquote healthy label that is supposed to be healthy, more organic, if you will. Again, you still have to read the labels. The other thing that I've started to do, and I'm getting a little bit better at it, is doing fasting or intermediate fasting. So, for instance, I like to try. I'm working on a 15-hour fast. So if I eat my last meal, say at 6 p.m. at night, I'm not going to eat again until 9 or 10 a.m. the next morning, which again is a little harder. I'm trying to increase that. So not this weekend, but the following weekend, I'm going to increase that to a 24-hour fast and see how I do. Fasting it's really good on your system. And then while you're fasting, just pounding the water and just, flushing your body and getting all the toxins that are in your body, getting it out of. That's
so when you're fasting, you're talking about fasting in the time of the day. Do you have a pretty regular sleep cycle, Wade, or not?
I
See, my
do.
sleep cycle is wonky.
Well, I would tell you that was, as far as my top benefits, sleep is in the top 2 benefits from the change of the diet. Is my
Okay.
sleep patterns became great at nighttime now. I used to take sleep medicines, CBD, THC, whatever, to get to sleep. Now I take absolutely nothing. I lay down
Really?
and I am out probably within 15 minutes.
Read
It's what they
read
call
this
the
comment.
What's that, Kevin?
Read this comment. Do
What?
you consider histamines in the diet?
Histamines. I mean, only if you need them, if it's part of your medication list, but I wouldn't take them. Histamines, no.
Okay. You talk about better sleep. Did you used to use the sleep apnea machine?
Yeah, I don't use sleep apnea anymore.
Okay.
You don't have. You're not required. You don't have to have a CPAP.
I'm not saying I'm not supposed to, but I was in the low 80s, and I got that up to the low 90s. So I'm good with that personally. So I don't use a CPAP. On my last sleep study, I was in the low 90s.
See,
So,
if this is what I
This is
like.
what helps me
Right
too.
here. That Marsha. Oh yeah.
That's what I
TV.
and
What,
yeah,
what am I
that,
looking at there, Tina?
can
What
you
is
see
that,
it?
Tina?
So these are
Yeah,
drops.
but
One of them is a magnesium, and this one's really good for your brain too, but it relaxes you, and this relaxes you too. It has health benefits, and it kind of relaxes and calms me after a long, like crazy day. I can take these and it'll kind of zen me out, and I can go to sleep, and my brain kind of like
okay.
isn't on turbocharge like it normally is. So I use these.
See,
They've been
that's
helping. I'm about halfway through them. I will probably buy them again.
And see, and this is what I
is-
like. And this will help your GI system. When you grow your own food and you preserving your own food and you do fruit
Uh-oh.
trees and bushes, it does help.
Is that me or
Because
him?
no, it's
What are
me.
you doing?
And so I can honestly say that's just the best thing that you really can do if you can grow your own food. And yes,
and once
Christy, no alcohol. It's it,
well, come
I
on
know
now.
basically this is life, but I swear there's resveratrol in here, so keeps my
yeah.
blood platelets and all that stuff good. So I'm making an excuse. I drink some of it, but I don't drink a whole lot. Like during COVID, oh my gosh, I was bored and drinking, and we were all stuck at home. But I don't drink as much, but I do notice a difference in like my sleep if I have a little too much of it. Like you would think I'd just be knocked out cold, but I'm not. I'm waking up 45 times a night, and it's just I don't
I,
rest well. And
I don't either.
Yeah, I don't sleep worth. Go ahead, Kev.
I don't sleep good at all. I don't sleep worth crap. But I will say this
No,
though.
I don't either.
But I also think it's my fault. I think it's my fault I don't
right,
sleep well because I don't eat fantastic at all. And
It's a
Wade
freaking
calls me
McDonald's,
out.
man.
I have not had no, we're not getting into this. All right.
you need to watch King Corn, and you'll never eat
But
McDonald's again.
but our problem is we eat out a lot, because our house is being built and we're out till late in the evenings. And I just need
Get
to
a
know
crock
when
pot, man.
listen, I need well, and like our HEB does these healthy meals, and they're just perfectly good portions. It'd be a grass-fed steak, green beans, and something like that, and you put in the oven. And so for me, I mean, there are things that I should be doing better, which I am. Starting August 2nd, I'm telling you, going out to eat. If I go out to eat, I'm going to order a chicken salad. I'm going to, just make sure that I watch what the calories are, and everything's going to be gluten free.
Well, you got to start somewhere, right? Like you can't
Right.
I think for me, I speak for myself, but I'm really bad about planning things to the T. Like I know what I'm doing in the next 15 minutes. I can get, oh, don't let me plan a vacation for the family because I got a schedule, right? So I will plan all of this stuff and immediately overwhelm myself with going ham right out the gate and doing too much, right?
Right. You got to
And
do it in moderations.
Right, and so start somewhere, pick something and start with that, and then
And that,
go to the next thing. You don't have to do it all at once.
but that's what I'm saying. Pick 3 nights out of the week. I know there are some people that have a hard time getting out of the chair and stuff like that because of their disabilities. But get a 10-pound dumbbell, man, or 5 pounds. Just do something. Keep your body,
Movement,
movement.
movement.
And today, I will tell you, this is where I really drew the line. I had a guy he was probably about 180, 200-pound guy getting out of my old man in his like early 90s was getting out of my chair. And he lost his legs, just went limp on him. I'm holding this guy up with a bear hug from behind in an awkward position. And I'm looking at all the other barbers going, y'all need to get down here and help me or we're going down. And then I ended up, hurt my back again. But right there should have told me, hey, you know what? If I was better fit and in better shape, it wouldn't have been that bad. Like I could have done that, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, easy. But because I gained the weight, I just need to start working out and feeling better about myself. Go ahead, John.
So Wade, well, I was going to ask Wade. I know went to the American University for that health study. When you started, if there was, I don't know, one or two things you already mentioned about the meat. If there's one or two things that you had say that was the most prevalent information, if you can put it that way, that affected you the most in that study, Wade, what would you say those one or two things were?
Well, you just said that, and a couple of things that literally just came to mind. Like when I said I was doing everything right. I wasn't a very big yogurt person, but I would always buy light yogurt. If it has the word light or diet on the label,
Or fat free.
or fat free, don't buy it.
Really?
Yeah, about
Wait,
Greek.
really?
Greek.
Really?
Greek
Yeah,
yogurt.
No
yeah,
kidding. Now, why is that?
because
If you know, I mean,
They
because of the
replace the
stuff that
fat
they
with
put
some
in
chemical.
there to make it light
I'm
or
sorry.
diet is harming your body worse than getting the whole natural ingredients.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
Which is
So
You don't know what you
I
don't
learned
know.
that.
So if you do research on the whole fat-free fad, and that's really what it was, right? Because when you go back through our so-called science, it's all theory, and then they always find out, oops, we got that wrong. Sorry about that. Oops, we got that wrong. Sorry about that. So they're finding that fat, your body needs fat, your joints need fat, your brain needs fat to function, right? So these folks that put you on this fat-free stuff, they had to put chemical fillers in there to make up for the fat that they stripped out. And the process that they did that with is more chemicals in your food on top of that.
Oh,
So,
okay.
I
you're better, as close to nature as you can eat, the better. Animal fats are not necessarily your enemy, right? You better eat real butter any day before you eat some margarine. Margarine's
Right.
one molecule away from plastic, right? Your body doesn't know what to do with that.
I had a doctor literally tell my father-in-law, eat as much butter as you want. Make real butter. Not
I
that I couldn't believe it. And I was like, what? And he was saying all the stuff that we learned years ago is just unbelievably wrong. And by the way, so I like pepper, and I'm like my dad. I will open up at a restaurant. I will take that freaking pepper lid off, and I will sprinkle it all over, and I'll coat it. But when you take NAD plus boosting, you see pepper will be on there. You look it up, and why is pepper important? It holds your nutrients in.
Yep, it'll help. It helps the body to absorb what you're putting in.
Right. And I thought that was one of the best things. And that's, my dad's 80 years old, healthiest man I freaking know. He could outwork me. That old man. I'll tell you what, I'm impressed, and he eats good. He takes, you can put one thing on his plate, have a plate, have vegetables here, rice over here, and steak over here, or this, and he mixes it all together and eats it all at once. He's done in like 3 minutes.
Yeah. So any kind of pepper is at least good for you. I grow my own peppers, and I think I told I ferment them, and then I make homemade hot sauces out of them. I'm trying to figure out how to get a license to sell my hot sauces, but I make fermented hot sauce, and it's really good for your gut health. It's, I can light you up. Like, I grow some scorpions, or whatever, so I try everything. But one of the things, there's a very good, like, if you like black pepper, like cracked black pepper.
Oh yeah.
There's another pepper. It's called a long pepper, and it's like a long peppercorn, and it has a ton of health benefits. It's got anti-inflammatory benefits, and I'm going to post them in here if this thing won't block me. But it's got a ton of health benefits. So while you're experimenting with pepper, get some of that and grind it up. It's got a little bit of a different flavor. It does have that little heat, that little kick, but the long peppers are really good for you too. And the black pepper has benefits, especially if you fresh crack it.
How about jalapeno peppers?
Oh, I grow jalapenos. I grow 25 different varieties of peppers, and then I ferment them.
Okay.
And I make hot sauces all the way from mild to melt your face off. So,
right. And Wade, when you did the study and now you're feeling better, you also quit drinking.
Good drinking.
Which,
Got rid of booze.
cold turkey. I seen him. I couldn't believe it. I was impressed with this young man. And, well, I guess middle-aged man. But
which the booze, everybody knows, anything in moderation is fine. If you're gonna sit at home and pound a 12-pack every day, not good for you.
Right.
And
right.
I quit for a whole nother reason. But let's just say if you're in otherwise decent health and you're still pounding a 12-pack at home, that's not going to help the weight. It's not going to help the cells. It's not going to help the energy. It's just not good.
But this is the question I have for you. And since you started doing the diet, you got onto the NAD plus boosting, and you started doing the right things for yourself. How are your labs work been?
I just got them back. We were talking about that. I just got my last ones back. She went over and above a CBC. She pulled stuff that had to get sent out, and everything besides my PSA for the prostate, everything came back. Literally everything was within range, except for my potassium was just mildly down.
Wow.
But every single lab came back within range.
You better get that potassium up.
Yeah.
Start losing them fingernails, osteoporosis.
When I talked to her, and like she said, if she looked at my labs compared to, just for like a 20 or 30-year-old's labs, she wouldn't know what my age, without knowing whose name and age. It's right there within this, it's perfectly fine.
Yeah. And so,
and the diet plays such a huge role. It's kind of like you're working out. Like when we used to work out, I used to be what they called the fat boy NCO. And if anybody's ever on that program, I had to, if they were overweight, I was the one in charge of making sure that they lost the weight so they didn't get kicked out. And you know, it was a lot harder back then. We just basically used to starve them and exercise them to death.
Now,
You know,
I do know, like, they have like stuff like Ozempic, and they got, you know, all this. They got all this stuff for weight
The
loss.
GLP-1s. The GLP-1s.
Right. I mean, there are some people that, you know, qualify who probably
There's a natural
should.
GLP-1.
Right. And they do have all natural
Mm.
ones. And see, that's turmeric in there. And I mean, that berberine, we talked about that, Wade.
yep.
And so there's so much out there that can really be very beneficial. And so that's what I'm asking for, is just 1 month. Just see how your body changes in 1 month.
And
Just
you're going
by
to start April 2nd.
April 2nd, we're going to start this thing.
We're gonna hold you to it.
Oh, good.
And
What
what?
mean?
So what's the end goal in mind? At 30 days, what's the end goal in mind there, Chief? What's the end goal?
Okay, so for me, this will be my end goal. Whatever y'all's end goal will be, but mine is going to be the first day I'm going to check my weight, and I'm not going to check my weight until the very last day. And I'm going to write down exactly how much I weigh, and I'm going to check my body mass, my mass, my body fat mass, however they check it. I'm going to see how much that changes, and that's where I'm going to go from there.
You're very patient. Like I'm working on my weight right now, and I literally step on the scale every day at the same time before I take my first sip of coffee. Like every day.
Yeah,
Yeah, you gotta hide that scale.
You gotta, man. You gotta
You gotta
break
put that
thing.
scale away. Take your weight one day.
I watch it like a hawk because it's the data. I collect the data, and I like to watch because it's never this. I mean, overarchingly, it's this, but it's this. It's this through the week.
You gotta put it away.
But you're directionally correct when you look at the whole data set, right? So I do data analysis for a living, so it's like that's like I can turn my body into data.
So I'll tell you why I want to do this. When I first started doing this podcast, I weighed 124 pounds. I am right about 200 pounds. And the reason I'm at that, yes, because of the medication the VA put me on.
Yeah.
And when you take gabapentin,
and eat McDonald's,
they tell you right off the bat. That's true. They tell you right off the bat, you're going to gain 30 plus pounds automatically. And I was so happy.
What medication would you say has a worst effect on you, Kevin?
Lyrica. Lyrica is the worst one.
Is that got a steroid in it?
No, it's I don't know what's inside Lyrica. I probably don't want to, but some about it just makes you gain weight.
I am so like,
and so I'm gonna ask for him to back me off of that, and I'm gonna also ask him to back me off of the fixer that he mixes with it, because my head's just not right. I mean, my head.
What do you mean by not right? You're too much brain fog?
Is anybody else doing this?
Methylene blue.
That's what I'm going to try to help clear up the brain fog. And so, I mean, so what scared me is the other night, I'm going to tell everybody a story here, but me and my wife and the kids, we went out to eat, and it was in our hometown, and it was probably about 40 minutes up the road. Well, when I pulled out, after we ate, we walked, we got in the car, I started driving, and I didn't know where I was. And I was like, which way do I turn on this road? And she's like, we're not on this road. I was like, what do you mean? And it was a panic for me. And it was like, okay. So I think some of that also has to do with my diet, with me gaining weight. I snore a whole lot more. And I do things I didn't used to do. When you
gain weight, you will snore.
And after I gained weight, I started noticing like I can only walk so far without trying to catch my breath. And so I've never experienced it. You know, when it first happened to me for the first 2 years, I was excited. I was like, man, it's the first time I'm the biggest Simon out of my whole family.
So
You
think
know,
about the amount of weight that your frame is now carrying that it's, normally didn't. So
right,
your body is working extra hard, your muscles, everything, your organs, everything are working extra hard just to haul yourself around. So I don't know if I told y'all, but I used to weigh 300 pounds. So
No,
oh yeah,
really?
I'll show you a picture someday. So I getting getting around was a deal, right? You are really working hard just to schlep that around. And it's amazing how much 20 pounds can do to your joints, right? Just
right,
your knees, all of that, the pressure. So if you imagine that's going to impact everything when you're laying on your back, you have all that pressure on your chest, it's going to cause you to snore, you're not breathing as well as you normally did. So you have all of that extra stress that's going on in your body. So the fact that you're kind of taking control of that and trying to like get it back in check and let go of like, hey, I need to be the biggest I can be. You're built and you're structured to be an optimum weight for you.
right,
Right.
right.
So
And I only need to lose about 15 to 20 pounds. That's what the doctor says. I want you back to about 180, 175, 180, but I need you to start working out. And so they have that program with the VA for,
the move, the move.
the move program,
Yeah, I called them back in March of last year and they couldn't get me an appointment until July of this
and
year.
and I know Denise wrote on here, she sure wishes John and Kevin would do the study in DC. And I can, and she says, why not? I can tell you why.
Time.
Time. I don't have it. I own my own business. I mean,
Yeah.
you got to understand,
But-
not only do I do this, but I run a full-time job. And then I also have, grandkids. My daughter's about to have, twins. I don't have time.
So
But
I actually talked to them, right? She turned me on to them and I called them and I talked to them and I was actually kind of went through it and qualified for the program and everything. And I was down. I was going to do it. It was going to be a little bit of like an inconvenience, but they're pretty much in line with how I already eat. So I thought, I'm going to go ahead. What you can always learn something, right? So I was going to do it, but then all hell broke loose when we had the change
right.
in administration. And I told him, I said, I've got to pause. I can't do this. I can't focus on this. So,
And like I encourage anybody who isn't working that needs to do this, do it. I mean, she put the phone number up there. It's in the messages.
the
I
program
encourage
sounds
anybody
amazing.
to do it. Yes,
Do it.
it's a
Oh yeah,
great program.
it's an awesome program.
Absolutely.
Awesome, it's
Well, so
And
Wade,
I
when you went out
asked
there,
all the questions. I asked all the questions. I have
Well,
a
I
good
could believe it.
foundation, and I was like,
I
okay,
could see
do
Tina
I
going, hold
smell
on.
bullshit anywhere, right? And I did not. So
And
I'm sorry I cut you
I
off.
mean,
no,
they
no.
flew you out there, Wade, right? But you only spent a short time out there, right, Wade? You
2
didn't spend a
weeks.
lot of
Well,
time out
that's
there.
it. That's the thing, though, is it's once you do the whole diet, you go back out there. You're there for 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, what's nice is, I mean, you're there for 2 weeks. So if you have a significant other, you have plenty of free time. So if you have a significant other, fly them out. The weekend you're there, you have free. So fly your partner out there, whatever, and find a hard body, whatever. Go around, see the sights, and
Right. And I believe in this study more than I believe in any other study.
Out of
Because
everything
number
I've
one,
done, it's in the top 2 of everything that I've done.
Well,
Absolutely no.
it's diet focused, right?
Right.
It's 100% diet focused.
And it's not about, trying to get in your head or throwing pills at you.
Nope, no
or,
pills.
Or anything. Now you have to quit drinking when you're on the program
You
just to
got to quit drinking, quit
security
smoking.
of the study, right? But at the end of the day, it's
You
probably
need
not
to-
going to hurt anybody to take a pause on some alcohol for a little bit. Your liver will thank you.
They put you up in nice accommodations. I mean, you're right down by George. I mean, it doesn't get any better. It really
And,
doesn't get any better. I mean, you're basically a 2-week paid vacation, really.
and so I mean,
I
I
live
can
here,
tell
so I'm
you,
not excited about it.
I see why Denise posts this, because I mean, Wade, he's an advocate for you
Oh
right
yeah,
there.
absolutely.
I
I
mean,
totally recommend it.
Wade will sit there and tell you. I mean, me, I would love to, but when I have 2 jobs, and I mean, the podcast is another 40-hour job for me anyway. I mean,
But
and then 40-hour a week on top of that job, everything going on. But I also know how to eat better, live better. I know it. I just have to
you got to do
practice.
it. We all know what to do. I mean, actually, we don't, because the weight loss industry is just that. It's a little bit like the pharmaceutical industry. They're not interested in you being successful. They're interested in you dumping all your
Right,
money and trying to get successful,
right.
right? So you have to do your due diligence and understand. And I think you can read something all day long, but until you see the impact on your own body, like Wade's a believer. He changed his way of life and he will never look back, right?
Yes,
Right,
absolutely.
You
right.
know,
I mean, instead of 6 months, we got years and years. And
Mhm.
so I look. Oh yeah, I'm throwing John under the bus here. John, here you go, John. Okay. Anyway,
I've cut John off twice. He's been trying to say something.
so I just want to say this before we get off the air. Just get you a little planner, something small, or get you a notebook, pad, and make a goal for 30 days. Only
Change
thing,
1 or 2 things that are for the better. It doesn't have to be big
right,
things.
right. And mine is going to be exercising and eating better. That's it. That's all I'm picking.
One more thing, Kevin, I just want to throw out there I just found this out for myself. Here in my Cedar Rapids, Iowa is a fairly decent sized city. I found out today that they actually have an exercise facility it's veterans only, and then like the staff of the medical facilities, but it's free for all veterans. So that's just something to look into. I just found out about it today.
Wow.
Yeah, it's so I mean the stuff is out there. I mean it's available.
Yeah, all you got to do it's just seriously look at what the VA and other places offer a lot of vets. Y'all would be surprised how many people who I talk to about stuff. I found out today, just to let everybody know, I found out today that the VA does Uber. Did
They
y'all
do
know
what?
that?
Do
Uber.
what?
You can Uber.
Oh,
The VA Ubers. If you do
Really?
not have somebody who can drive you, they'll help you get an Uber.
Huh.
And
Okay.
this guy goes 60 miles to get to the VA.
Really?
And I didn't know that. I just learned that
I
today.
didn't know
So
that either.
there's things,
It's annoying to me that they don't make that well known to us, though. You
right?
know,
They should make everything well known to us, but if you don't ask, you're not going to find out.
I know,
And
but
so
you don't know what you
Right.
don't know, so how you know to ask?
And
You
so,
know,
as we all know, before we go, I want to thank y'all for coming on. We got one more week of Veterans Better Quality of Life. Next week, we have a special guest coming on, and I'll just keep it a secret until next week because really good friend of mine. But I mean, I'm telling you, he's gonna blow your mind. Also, it's March, still March. You should do this the whole year round. But kill them with kindness. Open the door for people. Tell everybody how good that they look. Like Wade, you look excellent with having more hair. John, you look good with having a nice beard. Tina, you look good having long hair. Just little things like that make people feel good. And I think we should do it really all year round. But I'm just picking March. April is going to be start feeling better about your damn self. That's exactly what it's going to be. Feel better about your damn self. And so, with that being said, is there anything else anybody like to add real quick?
I've posted some of the things I showed.
Yeah.
I
I see 'em.
personally am taking some of these things. I have a warped thing right now because I've been battling some cootie from hell. So my energy level and everything I think is attached to my immune system being at bat with that. And then every time I get over it, I go to the office and somebody else brings another cootie from hell, and I get it. But anyway, I think that it's important that everybody consider not only your diet, but your supplementation, right? You know what your issues are. Do your research, look at what may your deficiencies are, do your blood work, and tell your doctor, like, you need like more than just the regular panel. You need like a whole plethora of things. You need to look at your B levels, everything, and start taking care of you and taking care of those deficits. I do want to finish with one thing. So you mentioned that you've gained weight, and people, or your the medication made you gain weight, or maybe you've been eating poorly and you're gained weight. I don't know if this is true or not, but I read a book a long time ago called The Fat Flush Plan. And in that book, it made a statement that made sense to me. And that is that your body's fat cells aren't just to store energy, but they're also there to protect your vital organs from toxins. And so they will envelope toxins in a fat cell, and it will not let go of that toxin until you are eating properly and doing things to detox your body. So it's got another role. So maybe the medications were being viewed as toxins by your body and causing you to develop more fat cells. Don't have to look
That's
at.
interesting. That's all right. Wait.
She goes and opens up another chapter, but I will throw out on top of Tina's, years ago in one of Dr. Nicholson's original research studies, he did put in there that it was his hypothesis that the toxins from Desert Storm were stored in the body's fat cells. So I go back to detox. You've got to do everything to detox your body.
I agree
rid your
with
body
that.
of all the toxins. And if that means losing fat and getting as thin and lean as you can, so be it. Change one or two things over the next couple of weeks.
There you go. I'm telling you, John. You have anything?
No,
You're ready for the
good.
after show, aren't you?
Yes.
John's been learning, because I got feeling John ain't been eating right.
Hey, I tell you what, I'm putting
We're gonna
John.
fix that.
I'm gonna be all over John on this one. But like at the bottom of the screen here, everybody, Marsha, you are so welcome. I think this was a really great topic tonight. I want to thank everybody for joining us. You can contact me at kevinsimon@goforsideffects.com. You get a hold of us on Facebook. If you got questions for Tina, Wade, or John, or myself, any way y'all need to get a hold of us, please do, man. This is what we're here to do. Help each other. Veterans connecting with veterans, helping out. That is the key thing. And last thing I'm going to say is, man, I hope everybody has a great night, and we're going to go into the after show now. Good night, everybody.